Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's Features webinar. I am Omer, and I'm a customer success advocate here at monday.com. I'll be walking you through this new Features webinar, and we have some really exciting updates coming for you today. During my preparation for this webinar, it hit me that monday.com is just like a computer game. There are constantly more and more amazing new features, tricks, and hacks to help you create your ideal workflow. So in this webinar, we are definitely going to unlock a few new capabilities. This is a demo of the new features and enhancements we've made in the last month to the platform, which I will demonstrate using a made-up use case I've created. This will provide you with more interesting context to the new features and capabilities. As you can see, we have quite a few new additions and improvements, including new sub-items capabilities and improved dashboard filters. We're going to start off with the smaller yet important changes and move on to the bigger and highly requested additions we've made this month. As you're quite a lot here today, I'll try and cater to everyone's needs, both those of you who are rather new to the platform, but also to all you monday.com savvies. Okay, so let's get started. One thing you should know about me is that I'm a former teacher. Given COVID-19 and the fact that many students don't go to school and university, I've decided to create my own online international academy. The current reality really proves working, learning, and collaborating online is possible, especially with online collaboration tools such as monday.com. As you can see, I have a few boards based on locations, languages, time zones, and multiple subjects the students can choose from. But so the environment is convenient for all users, both teachers and students, monday.com created a new Workspace Dropdown to easily navigate between the different workspaces. A workspace is basically a high-level folder you can use to store boards and divide the workspaces based on projects, departments, topics, or as in my use case, an environment for each teacher to collaborate with their students. From the drop-down menu, you can quickly move to the desired workspace, add more members, set the workspace permissions, or make it private if you're on the enterprise plan and more. So from here, you can see the recent boards, add more members, set the permissions, or decide whether this workspace should be a closed or an open workspace. And again, these features are granted on the enterprise level account. Okay, moving on. So in addition, so the working and learning experience is as smooth and convenient as possible. We recently added a few new UX UI enhancements to the board, such as the board description. You can now decide to show or hide the board description. And another use I have for the board description is adding useful links related to the board or workflow. In addition, there is a new hover indication on empty cells, just like this one. And over here, that's more clearly with the text column, you see you can add more information. In addition, we have a new column type indication. So on the column menu, you can also right click, will open the column menu as well. And knowing the column type is useful for when you need to convert it to something else, or for any case, you want to know what type of column this is. In addition, we have now a clear indication for items without updates with this plus sign, which is more clear to show you can add an update. And also you have the new editing indication, which tells you can click here and edit the name of the item, the update section, etc. In addition, and this is a small yet very meaningful addition, is that now when you hover over an item, it shows on all columns. So if you scroll to the right and want to edit a specific cell, you can easily know it's related to the name and the item name that you've been hovering when you started scrolling to the right. So In addition, now if you move an item or in batch actions, just like I'm doing now, clicking Shift and batch action for a number of items, if I move all of these to a new board, I will now have a list of all the recently used boards, which I can easily choose from. And I can, of course, still type the name of the board if I can't find it here. That's also something you can do, but that's easily for you if you have boards that you're currently using frequently. Lastly, for the UX and UI improvements, we have the tabs animations. So when you hover over a tab, even if you can't see the entire name because you have multiple tabs, you can see the view's name. In addition, you have the different options such as set a board default, which explains you that to set this view as the main tab for all board viewers, that's of course for board owners to decide. And back to my use case. So when a student in college or the pupil's parents want to get started and sign up, they'll find out our amazing monday.com forms. For those who don't know this amazing option yet, you can make any of your boards a shareable form so anyone and everyone can fill it out. Whenever a form is filled out, it will be created as an item on the board. And if you want to add a new form, just add a new view, form, and from here you can create this board as a form. In my form, I want to collect all the students' names, subject, lessons per week, and their preferred dates, as many times it's focused on getting ready for a specific exam and additional data we need. As I'm using the update section here for different purposes, I've added the text column so the student can indicate their main goals and issues to address in the lessons, be it preparing for an exam, general assistance, etc. So here you see the main goal, and I'm using that to know what the students are aiming for. If you know our forms, you will be aware that you can choose which columns show on the form. Previously, we put in an automatic additional question, which was the option to add the answer as an update in the item, which will be created by the form submission. We want to make sure our forms are as flexible and customizable as possible. So from now on, you are able to also choose whether to show the update question or not, as in my use case. And as you can see, I can choose which columns I want to show in my form, also to make them required or not for submitting the form. And from now on, you can also choose to hide or unhide the update section. Upcoming soon, not just yet, but soon enough, you'd be able to also drag and drop the different questions and columns from the form view as well. So this will be added soon to your accounts. Do note that if you're changing the order from the form view, it will also change the order on the main table view. Okay, moving on. So the students or parents submitted their requests, and I have theirs and their teachers' locations and time zones indicated in my world clock columns, just over here. From now on the world clock column can be used in your formulas as well. So for my use case, this is super helpful to show the time differences and indicate whether the teacher can work with the students or not, time-wise. To do that, I've created an if formula stating if the time difference is bigger than 4. If so, it's a no-go. So the way I've structured it is to use the if column over here that checks if a condition is met. If so, it returns the first value, otherwise returns the other. So this is an explanation what function the commas are used for. So here, just to explain this quickly, I have the if, and then if my teacher's time minus the student's time is less than 4, we are good to go. Otherwise, find someone else. And so you see here, I have good to go, find someone else. To make sure I'm not missing anything, I've added some visual aids using conditional coloring, which is a super easy to use and cool feature, which enables you to choose which column you want and what value you want it for, and choose what color it will be represented in. So I can change it to red, but now the indication is not good enough. I want to go back to green. And as you can see, it changes automatically, but this is not the type of green I'm looking for. I believe this is the one. And here we go again. So quite a few new additions and tricks already, but let's move on. So I'm using sub items just over here on this board for the teacher to communicate with the students and assign them their learning materials, quizzes, and more. For those who don't know or use sub items, they are a great way to add an additional layer of information and granularity to your workflows. The amazing thing about sub items is that while they live within an item, they can have their own structure in terms of column types attached to them, separate from their parent item. Since we released sub items, we have been constantly improving them based on user feedback. One of the biggest and highly requested feedbacks we received about sub items is the ability to move sub items with their items when moving item from one board to another. And this is now possible. So in my use case, if the student moves to a different country and time zone, the teacher can move the item together with the sub items to the designated board and time zone, so no data is lost. Before this addition, moving an item with sub items would result in the sub items not showing on the destination board. So as I've shown before, I can do this either when the sub items are open or when I collapse them. I can choose to move it to another board. And now when I would do it, I will still have my sub items together with that item and no data will be lost. So this was a highly requested feature, which we are now glad to release to our accounts. In the near future, another highly requested feature is the capability to convert an item to a sub item and vice versa. Let's just say I want to convert a sub item to an item. This will be soon released also, and this is a highly requested feature. Okay, moving on, and let's go to our amazing dashboards. Another important functionality we have added for sub items is that from now on, you can use sub items in the chart and battery widgets on the dashboards for more granular insights. For those of you not using dashboards, let's quickly recap what they are. With dashboards, you can pull in data from multiple boards in order to create reports and analyze data. They are the best way to get the most valuable insights from everything you are managing with monday.com. And in this case, I've connected only one board, but you can definitely connect more boards, all depending on the type of plan you are on. For example, on the Pro plan, you can connect up to 20 boards per dashboard. You can, just so you know, create as many boards and dashboards as you want, but only connect 20 boards per dashboard if you're on the Pro plan. So I connect these boards and then see the data from these boards all together. So I have the battery widget here on the left to show me how many students are applying for each subject, so I can plan in advance in terms of hiring. With my new capability of being able to pull data in from sub items, I can now also create a battery widget like the one on the right, showing me how many passed their exams based on the sub item status column. With the chart widget on the bottom, I can get a good overview of how my teachers are doing and measure their success rate. So I want to show you how we can do it and go to the settings of each widget. And in this battery widget, you see I've chosen to not select any of the status columns, but rather choose the status column of the sub items over here. And what I'm looking for is the grade in this case. So again, great addition to the capabilities of the dashboards. And for another major sub item addition, from now on, you can add sub item to sub item dependencies to help keep your projects on track. When we started our automation journey, a main goal of ours was to create a stable foundation for dependency connections between different items. So let's show you how you can add these dependency automations. You open the Automation Center, and then we have the Dependencies tab. As you can see in our automation center, we have a designated section for our dependency automations based on dates and statuses, and you have quite a few options you can choose from. As you can see in my example, I have two exams depending on one another. I've created an automation so that if the first exam is rescheduled, the date of the second one would be automatically modified. Let's just see how that works. So if I'm changing the date over here by 2 dates, let's see how it's automatically changing here as well. And here we see the magic happening. Let's push it back to the 11th and see how it's changing back on the dependent item as well. Here you go. Okay. So that's all for the improvements we made to sub-items. And now let's take a look at a very small but impactful improvement we made to our Gantt view. With the Gantt view, I can see what each of my teachers has on their plate within a certain timeline. The Gantt chart is where your project comes to life. Since it's added to your project board as a board view, the Gantt chart works with you and is flexible and responsive to the twists and turns of your project's development. The Gantt is the most visual way to see a project's timeline, and it includes the ability to choose which columns to view by. It could be status, people, or even a group. You can add a baseline to see the plan versus actual timelines of your project's timeline and so much more. And so you understand that there are many, many capabilities you can achieve with the Gantt view, change the settings from here, etc. One of the pain points many of our users pointed out is needing a clearer view of the Gantt and more space to see it. From now on, you can collapse the left pane to get a better view of the Gantt chart, just like this. Okay, great. Now let's take a look at some other ways we look at some of our boards using the board views. Although I use the daily work filtered view for my day-to-day work on the board, I have a few more columns added to the main table view. But before I show you these columns, I want to explain a bit about the different table views. So on the main table, I will always see all the data, all the items, all the columns, etc. But I can choose to filter based on my needs. Maybe I just want to see the items assigned to me only on a specific month, etc. And I can also save this as a new view. What I've done is saving the for daily work view, that's how I called it, with the columns I most frequently use, so I don't have too much columns that I'm not using, and I can easily find what I'm looking for. On the main table, I've added the creation log column and last update column, which provide insights for the teacher's engagement, length and duration of work with the students, and the drop-down column, which we use to measure how much effort and time is needed by the teacher to accommodate the students' needs in a scale of 1 to 10. Now, let's go to the Kanban view, which is another cool view I want to show you. Kanban is a project management technique that aims to manage work by prioritizing tasks and balancing demands according to available capacity. The Kanban view assists me in clearly seeing the students divided into the various subjects, as the subjects are used as statuses. We have recently added even more columns, and most recently the drop-down creation log and last updated columns to display on the Kanban view, giving even more context to each card while using this view. And here you can see how I can choose which columns I'm adding or not adding to my cards. Okay, so now I can see all the students learning a specific subject, their main goals, and how much effort and time is needed to accommodate their needs. As I have a few teachers teaching the same subject and a few teachers teaching multiple subjects, I can use the board filter to filter only the data I want to see. For example, I want to see the data for Eric teaching only English and only in July. While I can use the regular filter over here, I can also use the advanced filter. So let's just say I want to see only Eric. and only when Eric is teaching English, because maybe he's teaching on other subjects as well, and only in July. And in my case, I've structured the board in a way that the groups are representing the months. So I'm going to choose group is July. And now I am seeing only the data I'm interested in. As I mentioned before, I can save this as a new view, and I can have more than one Kanban view, and one of them would be the general one, and the other one would be the filtered view I've just created now. In my case, I'm going to clear this because I don't need it. But something that many of you have been waiting for is the ability to apply multiple conditions to filter your dashboards, just like in the boards. So here it is. Let's get back to our dashboard and look at how we can apply such filters to drill down on the data we are reporting on. So from now on, not only you have the regular filter, but you can also switch to the advanced filters, either from here or click that down arrow over here and get directly to the advanced filters. And let's just say I want to know how many students I have across multiple time zones and boards learning English. So I'm going to go and choose subject. Subject is English or math for that matter. Currently, I don't have that many learning math, but English, I have quite a few. And so I can choose what data I want to see, and I can even create multiple widgets. Each one of these is a widget, just like views. For dashboards, it's called widgets. I can create multiple similar widgets, chart widgets or battery widgets, but have each one of them set for a different purpose and filter differently. So I can see exactly the data I want to see. Okay, moving on. So let's go back to the board. And one more thing I want to show you is our improvements regarding accessibility. We are committed to making the monday.com platform accessible to everyone. We have started by making the navigation, board, and dashboard lists and the dashboard toolbar accessible via keyboard navigation and screen reader. This is the first step in reaching our goal for everyone to be able to move around the main flows on monday.com using just their keyboard and ears. So this is definitely a big step forward in terms of making the platform accessible for everyone, which is something we find extremely important, and we are definitely aspiring on being there as soon as possible. And now for the app of the day. For those not familiar with our apps marketplace, with the monday.com apps marketplace, you can find ready-made apps to expand the capabilities of the monday.com platform and fit the unique needs of your business's workflows, processes, and projects. The apps marketplace contains apps developed by third-party developers, as well as the apps built by the monday.com team using the apps framework. With the help of the apps, you can automate and integrate your data in new ways and collaborate more effectively across your organization.